Historic Districts Board meeting to order. First order of business is to read our typical meeting introduction. This is the November 18th, 2025 meeting of the Landmarks and Historic Districts Board of the town of Southampton. Present are members Vicky Kahn, Tim Ganettis, Susan Clark, Larry Jones, Samantha Malone, Bill Hine, and myself, Stephanie Davis. Absent is Jeff Gibbons, who is home ill tonight. We also have attending David Wilcox and Julie Green from the town. This meeting is being conducted under the town and New York State law that provides for in-person and remote participation. Individuals may undertake remote participation by going to the link on the Landmarks Board agenda or by going to the meeting portal of the Southampton Town Clerk on the town website. Viewer-only observation is found by activating the live link at the top of the town clerk's meeting portal page. Online participation is being moderated by CTV and tonight by Peter. To comment on a particular agenda item, please notify CTV via the chat function so that comments may be made. Commentators will need to provide the name, agency if relevant, and a place of business or residence. And the first item on our agenda tonight is, Peter, do we have Ed with us yet?
I do not see him.
Okay, just let me know when he arrives. We'll put that aside for a moment.
Ed just came on.
Oh, great. We will not put it aside for the moment. Can you, is he on screen at all?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah. What you said? Ed, good evening.
Good evening, all. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. I'm glad you could join us tonight. We all miss you here. Miss your leadership, miss your insight, miss your historic knowledge, and I hope you're feeling better.
Well, it's probably going to be a long road, but I'm working on it.
Our fingers are crossed for you. We wanted to share a little something with you tonight. It's up on screen if you can see. This is a certificate of appreciation put together by our request and by the town, presented to you. And I'm just going to take a quick read through it here. It says, in grateful appreciation of your more than 13 years of dedicated service and productive participation with the town of Southampton, through your presence, insights, and efforts with the Landmarks and Historic Districts Board, especially your 8 years as chairman, you've made a very real difference and helped further our mission to protect the historic and cultural resources of the South Fork. From your meticulous research and thorough reports to your assistance in securing our CLG designation and the Bull's Head Main Street Historic District, you have helped preserve our hometown's unique and special character. In further and fitting recognition of your strong commitment to the people and principles of this great community, we hereby present you with a certificate of appreciation and offer our many thanks for your devotion of time, talent, and energy. May you enjoy much health and happiness in the years to come. In witness hereof, we have set our hands and caused the seal of the town of Southampton to be affixed this day, the 18th of November, in the year 2025, and signed by all of our town board members and our supervisor. So we have the copy, or actually the original here for you, and it will be delivered to you at a time that is convenient for you. And I think we also have a little card coming. I wanted to say a few words tonight while we have the chance to see you. I have really enjoyed serving on this board under your leadership over the past quite a few years. I actually looked you up in my contacts this week, and I have you listed as potential landmarks board member. So I grabbed your information quite a few years ago now to make sure I held on to it, and I'm glad I did. You have guided us through quite a few difficult applications, difficult things to consider here, uh, helping us get our CLG status, which I think has been extremely helpful for us as board members, and also I think going forward for the town in terms of our ability to create landmarked structures and properties and establish historic districts. And I don't know how I'm even going to begin to duplicate what you used to do up here at this desk in terms of putting up not only applications and reports, but photographs and things from the town's GIS, etc. It made it very easy to understand the history of the properties that you were explaining, as well as the proposed work on these properties. So for all of that, I'm very grateful that you were here for as long as you've been here, and I only wish that it could be longer. So thank you very much, Ed, from me.
Well, thank you, Stephanie, and thank you for all of your great support through the years, and great support for even the preceding chair of the Landmarks Board as well. Your long service certainly should be appreciated as well by the town and by your fellow board members as well. And I want to express my gratitude too for the board members for their support and their involvement and their commitment. Even without the real resources that would make the board effective, they have over the years been capable of doing an excellent job, and I look forward to an excellent job in the future by the board members. Thank you all, and I thank the town board for that certificate of appreciation. And I'll continue to watch from afar and maybe even periodically fly a message to you once in a while about some historic preservation issues. So thank you, and on with the agenda.
Thank you. Is anybody else want to say anything at this point in time?
Ed, you're just a great guy. Can't say anything more than that. Terrific guy, great leader, great motivator. We all deeply miss you and wish you the best.
Susan?
Hi, Ed. Ed, you're just like one amazing person with the technology aspect, with the history. When you presented so many of the details, flipped through everybody's application and contributed, you did research for all of us and would send it along. Not just Bridgehampton, which you knew backwards and forwards, but, every little hamlet in the town. And the thing that always amazed me when you spoke about the history and about the people that lived in the house, it seemed like you knew them, like you were best friend, and Joe said this and Richard said that, and it just the way you presented it, it was just always made it extra fascinating. So thank you so much for everything you did for us through the years. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Susan.
Hey, Ed, you're the main reason I got on this board. Now we're going to really miss you. So it's been a pleasure to work with you and to learn from you. And hope we see you around here periodically.
Okay?
Anybody else? Okay.
Okay. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you, Ed. Thank you for coming on tonight. Good night.
Night.
Okay. Moving on to the printed agenda, and by the way, there are copies of the agenda up front for anybody who needs them. Oh, and hang on a sec, we have another attendee. Could you please sign or the matter you're on, and if you could return it to me when you're done, thank you. Okay, moving on, next item is the minutes from our October 21st meeting. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? I did not hear anything via email. I know, Susan, you had one comment?
Yes, it's just under, I think it was 19 Shore Road, that Bill recused himself because he also was the architect of that.
Yeah.
Right, and it was also 13 Basket Neck. I recused myself from both, yeah.
Okay, I will make those changes on the minutes, and then if there's no other changes, I'll get them posted. So, done. All right. Okay, we have 3 guests with us tonight, and as our usual practice, we will move forward those matters on the agenda that the guests are here for. Our first guest is Amy Paradise here, who is here for 53 Foster Avenue in Hampton Bays. That is the application, the landmarking application that first appeared on our agenda last month. We discussed it briefly, and our town historian, Julie Green, has agreed to put together a report on the property to synthesize the information that was submitted and to add whatever additional information is available. I understand you are more or less done with the report. It should be ready for our December meeting.
Absolutely, yeah. It's in a draft form right now, but it just needs a couple of other resources
Okay.
to look at. Yeah.
So we can expect to have that circulated
I'll
to
get
the
that to
board
you.
before our meeting.
By the end of this month.
Okay. Okay, so that will be on our next month's agenda. Amy, did you want to say a few words?
I bought some of the documentation I've got.
Okay, if you want to come up and speak, you're welcome to come up to one of the chairs so that it can be recorded.
The left chair.
Yeah, the left chair. Thank you.
53 Foster Avenue belonged to Edward Foster, who was my third great-grandfather. That's a picture of his wife, Mary Bellows Foster. It's the only, I've not been able to identify a picture of him. I have all kinds of pictures, but my grandmother didn't identify all of them. But that was her great-grandfather. That was probably taken on the property. There was a big barn. It would have actually been behind the house across the street from me, but it was wrecked years ago. It was there when I was a kid.
Are all of these materials submitted with the application?
Well, I didn't. This is a stack of deeds for the property that Edward Foster owned. At one point, he owned all of Ponquag. The whole thing, from Bay Avenue all the way down to the lighthouse. And his brothers and his father, I mean, the deeds, they're trading it back and forth here and there, and other people bought and sold in and out. It was too many. I just sent a picture of the copies of the deeds. I mean, I can't copy all of this stuff and run it through a.
I'd be happy to digitize everything for you.
I bought the family record. This was the one my grandmother copied, and it has the picture here that I believe is probably, it's not this house. It was John Sawyer Foster's house. John Sawyer Foster was Edward's father. Talking to Richard Casabianca, whose mom lives in the John Sawyer Foster house, it's been altered a lot. But if you took the gambrel roof off the back end of 53 Foster, you have that house. And I'm a sneaky bastard. I called the realtor and walked through. If you want to save it, you got to do something. The people have had it 2 years. They've had people in there doing work without permits. They tore the damn floor out of the first floor. There were boards. The original floorboards were 2 feet wide. There's about 2 of them left in one corner. The original fireplaces are still there, and the cupboards by it. Upstairs, it doesn't look like they've done too much. The mantelpieces are still there. There was a really interesting built-in cupboard in the kitchen, which they've torn out. You can see that on the Zillow pictures when Element had it first, and they couldn't sell it for $2.2 million. It's down to $1,445,000. If I had the money, I'd buy it. But they wrecked it's still on the property. There was a barn. It had been turned into a cottage. They redid the whole thing without a permit, obliterated everything, done it in white and gray. Stupid layout, too. I'm looking for Lynette Benitez because I was told specifically by Bernard Benitez that they had documentation on the construction of the house. I haven't been able to find that. This, however, is a really neat collection of documents, all of them related to Edward Foster, receipts and such, insurance papers. It shows a snapshot of life in the 1800s. Interestingly enough, they did most of their business in Riverhead. And I thought about that for a while. Southampton was just a farm town at that point. Everybody went to Riverhead for stuff, and Sag Harbor, but Sag Harbor was farther. There are so many names in here. Skidmores, Corwins, Benjamins. There's a document here from when the town laid out Lighthouse Road for Edward Foster's property. It just says, basically, the town is coming along and this is what we're going to do and here's where it's going. I have to take the deeds, put them in order. It's hard for me to follow exactly what went where. But, I mean, these people were Pongwog.
That's an amazing collection of deeds. What do you got there, about 20 of them?
I don't know. I don't know.
How do you ever put piece of,
Well, put them
you
in
know, you could do
order.
it.
You put them in date order, and then you can get some sense, and then you have to look at the oldest maps, and then some of the references, like they call Bay Avenue the road to Tiana, and you have to figure out some of these earlier references. I haven't found, and maybe there wasn't a deed, maybe it was by will from John Sawyer to Edward. And then Edward probably put the addition on the back of the house because he had a crop of kids. That one of them was my great-great-grandfather. But that house stayed in the family until 1966. It was in the Foster family until 1966 when the Benitez
So
bought
you
it.
could just will property to a relative without a deed, I guess. huh?
Yes.
Simple.
I don't know whether, I haven't been over to Surrogate's Court. I don't know whether the deed, whether they've got stuff back that far, whether it's over, whether there might be at Riverhead, the Historic Society has older stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't tracked everything down yet. And some of the industry, I mean, I'm fascinated by the fact that I know that they had a windmill-powered sawmill and furniture. They were building furniture there. I've got a picture in the 30s, and you can tell they took every tree, every last thing. It was bare ground. They didn't have much common sense in that respect.
Windmill powered sawmill, like that, at least not here.
That was important enough to my grandmother to write it down when she was dying.
Wow.
It was in her book telling us, this chair came from this one, this chair came from that one, all of this stuff.
Amazing.
Hampton Bays doesn't get the noise that Southampton does, especially about its colonial history. Everybody just kind of, I'm really annoyed that we don't have a heritage district. We have no historic district, and they're starting in town to buy these properties and bulldoze houses. And we're gonna lose it all if we don't do something. So this is my first effort to do some of that, and I'd be happy for people to look at these things.
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing this, to the attention of the board. And I
And,
think,
uh,
Julie's putting together,
There's a historic district, which would be very interesting to flush that out of, Shinnecock Road and Foster, of historic structures that are down there, that have been in the Foster family. This one has been in the family for about 126 years. As Amy mentioned, I mean, there's just quite a bit of history. I mean, Edward Foster sold 10 acres of land to the U.S. government to put the lighthouse in. He got $100 an acre back in 1856, 57, which is quite a bit of money.
There's actually, seems to have been some squabbling, there's some writing there, some
yeah.
squabbling about the property with the lighthouse. The piece of paper is very hard to read.
But they,
But it definitely came from them.
and they seem to have deeded everything to each other for nominal amounts of money, but they actually went through the whole deed process, which is fascinating to me because most families, you keep something in the family and there's no deed recorded ever. So they really recorded deeds. It's by will, the last, by Nellie, who was a Foster,
Yeah.
Nellie Foster.
She was George's
Clark.
sister.
Right, she
I think her
willed it to
real
her
name was
nephew.
Helen, but they called her
Ella?
Nellie.
Yeah.
I think she was Helen.
They she's the one at the very end that willed it in 1953, so that the last Foster that was living there. Received it by will.
Everett and Teresa Foster
Yeah.
ended up owning it.
That was Charles Everett. He got it from his aunt,
Yeah.
Clark, and then he passed away, and then his wife passed away the following year, and they sold it to the Benitas family.
all right. So
I just didn't know what people wanted to see, what you wanted to know. What,
I think-
any kind of other information you want me to go find?
you want to take a look at what,
I'd love to, like we've done with some of the other things that you've given. If you want me to scan it all, that way you have digital copies of it too, Amy, so,
Mhm.
and then it's more
Yeah.
readily available for
yeah, and,
our report.
I gotta know I gotta get all the right paper and preserve some of this stuff.
well, I'll put it in Mylar for you in folders, or acid free, I'll put all of that together for you.
Okay.
If you let us,
Yeah.
Yeah, if the two of you
Digitize,
could coordinate on that, and that way we can have a more fleshed
still
out
got the
report
Hitchcock
for our
chair.
meeting next month.
He made, it's up in the attic. It's two of them actually, they're not, one of them's in pretty good shape, one of them's been kind of repaired. And I wondered if they had a walnut table that sat 22 people, and I wondered if that was made there too. I got some of the leaves in the attic. So I just want you to know if you need anything else, whatever you want to know. It's just, if you took all the little things they stuck on that house, and if they're gonna make that house probably up to code or something like it, and sound, they gotta take them off. You'd have, I started to show you the picture. We looked at the windows, I walked around it, the layout is exactly the same. It's page 61. See, what they did, I believe, is they put this gambrel roof and second floor here. And then at some point, they had put that porch on the front, but the door is in the exact same location, the windows are the exact same, and this side especially, it has two small half-size windows and two in the middle, and this down here, they stuck a bay window here. Literally, it's on little.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and back here where the door is, they put in another, a flat window. But Dad remembers the door being there, and there was actually a sidewalk out to Shinnecock Road.
Can I look at that a little closer for you?
Yeah, now that's like I said, that's the John Sawyer Foster house, but I think the plan was exactly the same. I didn't actually take a tape measure and measure it, but pretty sure. And the back being an addition might make, I wondered because the gambrel, they left this, it overhangs the first floor by about 2 feet or so on each side, which is unusual.
That book you're looking at is Alfonso's book, Foster's book.
My grandmother's
Yeah,
copy.
he was a Civil War vet, and he is actually on the
Memorial at
relief
Gettysburg.
memorial at Gettysburg,
Mm.
and he's charging on his horse, but he's in the marble relief that was carved at Gettysburg. Yeah. Very interesting family.
And they haven't messed with the ceiling, and I was told it was made out of ship spars that they picked up on the beach. And Bernard told me that was all there, but they dropped it and put stuff over it. So and I didn't get up in the attic. You can see a lot of what went on in the attic. In the John Sawyer Foster house, you can still see some of that house was put together with pegs like this, long pegs. And then in between, maybe later, they put, sawn lumber. But the raw logs were still there that they built the original house with. And I don't know whether that's true there. I didn't have a ladder, and the realtor probably would have thought I was a little weird. Although, if you're gonna buy an old house, check the roof and check the foundation. That's where you start.
I missed the address before. This is 533 David White's.
It's the exact same house.
Yep.
Except they put a gambrel roof over the back. They tacked that porch on the front. There is they did the same thing over at the John Sawyer house. They raised the second floor a little bit, the roof.
Yep.
But that's what it
Nice.
started out as.
Yeah. One half house.
Is that what they call it?
Yep. That's
A half
that's
house.
very similar to my own house. So, thank you very much for bringing this. And if you would coordinate with Julie, because she's working on the report that will be ready for us next month, it would be great.
I don't know how much protection it actually, I know when people have a lot of money, they can wreck it anyway, but you can try.
Well, landmarking does help with that.
Yeah. I had a suggestion for it too, which is like, you could easily make, without altering the building very much, 2 living units out of that. And a third, we've already got a third one, although it's gotta be rearranged. The idiots put the bedroom upstairs and the bathroom downstairs. You could make 3 units on that, have community housing by it.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Is this 533 David White's?
This is 53 Foster Avenue in Hampton Bays.
Okay, sorry. The architect for the other property was talking.
Okay, yeah. Our next visitor here is Robert Rateni, and over 2426 Montauk Highway. This is a COA discussion down toward the bottom of the agenda. There were proposed changes to windows and a door relative to what you were here for last time. Let me see if I can pull up this application. Okay.
The only difference was some movement of windows and doors.
Would you like to come up to this way we can hear what you have to say?
The only difference was movement to the windows and doors relative to the approval you already granted to the color change.
Great.
Move a little closer to that microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so I have on the screen here what's proposed, I believe.
Yep.
Which is the large window. Is that a folding door that opens?
Yes,
in the
so
front?
that's the same forgive my lack of, I'm not an architect, but that's the exact same opening. And it's just a change of windows and it opens up, so they open up to the outside.
Okay.
Which would allow fresh air, yes.
All right.
And the change is on the side facing the parking lot, which is down to the right. I think it's probably the next picture. What to say?
Yeah, this one?
Well, that's the exact same opening also,
Okay.
new windows. And then to the right of that, the next picture, one more probably. There you go. So that door is now moved. It used to be to the right where the hedges are. We moved it open and put windows on each side. It allows more natural light into the space, which with hindsight should have been done probably 30 years ago, but it's a separate issue.
And this is a side wall facing the parking lot?
This is facing the parking lot, facing where Thayer's is on the other side of the parking lot.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, there's no structural change to the building, there's no expansion, there's just new doors and windows, and in my, humble opinion, it's a refresh and sort of a little bit more brought up to date with what's.
Looks like you're adding a light here over the door. Is that going to be behind the awning there?
The Architectural Review Board discussed that with me, and we discussed that the architect might have not been aware of that. That is it does conform with what the approvals are as far as, lighting going down and dark sky and all that sort of thing. But that might be something that we would adjust or actually, because I think he discussed something, that was discussed with the Architectural Review Board with Prenda Rand.
So is there going to be a light there or no?
I don't believe so, to be quite honest with you.
Okay. This is an existing
That's the existing.
condition,
Yeah, that's the existing.
and this is the other existing
And that's the
condition.
other existing, yeah.
Could you go to the front view, up one to the existing? Now, is that all one building?
It's
Microphone.
all one building, correct.
So, right, so,
The only thing changing there is.
So you gonna do anything on the left at all to match it? See, I guess that's like the front view, and I see two windows that match.
Well, actually, you know what, to correct myself with what you, it's a very good question you asked. We would at this time like to make that window on the left match the one on the right. Well, now, it won't be an opening one, but it would be without the
The little,
forgive my ignorance in my description.
this
Correct.
detail up here?
Yeah, it would be more clear, yeah.
Okay, is it going to resemble then, well, let's go back up to your entry.
It would match that, yes, without the openings of the
Without the
doors.
openings.
Correct.
Would there be the vertical divides in the glass to mimic the pattern that's in the operable door on the other side, or would it be a single pane of glass?
Probably just a plain glass. That would make more sense, honestly, over there.
So this application only includes the Tuto Cafe side, it doesn't include the left side.
That is correct.
Are you gonna be submitting another COA for the other side of the building,
We're
or?
not doing anything over there. Well, I guess we would have to
Yeah, if you're going to be changing the windows on the
I
other
mean, I
side.
don't need to change the window. That's a very good question, and to be quite honest with you, I hadn't thought about that prior to you asking me that. And I wouldn't do it without your approval, but the plan was not to do that immediately. I was thinking of doing it down the line because we needed to order some new windows, and we have already discussed that might as well just order two while we order one, but we're not gonna do it without your approval. That's a very good question you just asked, so, thank you for that.
What is the timing on getting all of this done? Would it be more efficient at this point to suspend this COA application and put in a revised one that covers all of the work that you plan to do, or?
I would actually prefer not to do that, and I
Okay.
don't need to do the one on the other side of the building at this time, because we are under somewhat of a time constraint to do this for next spring.
Okay,
That's our ideal. So it would be for this side. The other side, if we were to replace that top part of that window, that's a 1-week job. You know,
Okay.
so I would come back to you and get your approval and just do it at that particular time.
okay.
We just thought about making it more consistent and so on and so forth, without the blue Ferrari in front of it. But, you know, that was just there when we took the picture, but
Yeah.
that was a joke there, but that's okay. So, yeah. So did that answer your question?
Yes, it does answer the question. So you're only going to be doing work at this point in time on the
On
right-hand
the
side?
easterly
of
side of the building,
building.
correct.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to take it from looking like this to looking like this.
Correct. And this has been 30 years. We did this 30 years ago in 1995, when I purchased the property, and it hasn't been touched since, and it does need a refresh, in my opinion.
Okay.
You know, which is why we're changing the color also. But,
Yeah.
and then since I was here last time, things happened with the tenant and so on and so forth. So
Okay. Do our architectural members here have any comments on the proposed changes here?
What to say? I mean, I understand it because they look like they were going to open the purpose of the vertical, but to have a storefront that doesn't match, I don't know how many people driving by might, notice that, but I like the windows that actually look like storefront windows, which are more similar to what's now, but these are more contemporary look.
I think they are, the whole thing is a more contemporary look.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me think of South Florida, personally. But it is going to change the appearance of this building considerably from this. I mean, the whole stucco appearance is not particularly going to change. It's going to be a slightly different color. But these are kind of interesting, historic-looking windows, and not so visible with the awning here. So that is going to be a major change, replacing them with a modern windows.
Well, the awning on the left is also rolled up at this particular time.
Yep.
So in that picture anyway.
Yep.
You can't see it. So I hear you. And right now, they do allow outdoor seating there, so on and so forth, which actually would be more conducive with the doors that open.
That open, yes.
Personally, but
I see that.
yeah.
Yep. From my perspective, the side doesn't matter quite so much. There's some landscaping there, and personally, I prefer a wall with windows to allow natural light in rather than just stucco wall. So, but I think it is going to change the appearance of that front window area in the left or the right-hand side of that building, and eventually, I'm sure it sounds like we'll see a COA application for the other side as well. Any comments on
I
this?
just had another question, just to clarify. So on the west side there, you're not going to put in a new awning? Because you're going to have a new awning on the east side and facing the parking
Well,
lot,
they're-
but then the
they're-
other one stays the same? Is that it?
They're two
Until you-
individual stores, and those awnings were approved
For those,
previously.
okay. No, I
by-
understand. I
That
just
wasn't the plan.
clarification.
Yeah,
Okay.
that wasn't the plan.
All right.
Yeah.
I would say that I agree with the comment before about the window. Driving down through that main pass of Bridgehampton, you mainly see windows that are full pane of glass like this that look kind of historic, you know, so splitting it up is really going to be a change, and not consistent with what I think of when I think of Bridgehampton.
Do we know if there are any other commercial buildings in this area fronting on Main Street with these operable doors, windows, if you will? I'm not aware of any, but I'm not as familiar with Main Street.
Does, I believe.
Do they?
I believe they do. Just as a comment, and this may or may not be relevant, but I'm not sure that anyone on this board right now remembers what this building looked like prior to 1995. It was a printing press building that was occupied by 85% of the building was the printing press. And on the left-hand side where that Pilates studio is now was a very small real estate office. So what we've done over the years, I think, has been a significant improvement. Again, I respect what you guys are commenting on. My intention is to make the two windows, especially with the transom area, match, so that if the awnings are retracted, that they would match. I'm not necessarily sure that having opening doors, which, again, personally service what's going on in the community these days with outdoor seating and so on and so forth, which seems to be something people like, is contrary to a full pane window on the other side. I readily admit that I can't name every storefront on the street and tell you what looks this way or the other way. I do know Bobby Vans has opening windows, doors, windows. I'm not sure how everything is completely consistent, but whatever. I don't know. That's my comment.
So the two doors to the left, are they being changed?
No, those doors are staying exactly the same. Those are the existing doors that are there now.
Because they don't,
Entry to the,
they don't match the photo there. The one has a
Well,
light
yeah,
cut at the
they have
top, the other looks like it's painted black.
the architect probably took a little bit of artistic license, but we're not changing anything with those doors.
Okay, so
then
the
also
doors
the-
are going to stay like this.
Yeah.
Okay, the color of the building also looks lighter in the architect's drawings?
We already got that, we already had that approved by this
did, okay.
board.
Yeah, we went
And
through the
we-
COA
we-
for that.
And the only difference in that is we're changing it from yellow to basically an off-white.
Okay, so then we discussed the awnings at that time, the color changed as well? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. The awnings, I don't believe had been addressed, but when the time comes for the awning to be replaced, that will of course go to the, I believe, the ARB or U, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it'll come here too.
Because this board came into being after the last time we went for awning approvals and so on and so forth, I believe.
I have a question. Is it possible to do the retractable windows on the parking lot side on the east? I guess it'd be the front facade that faces the street that would concern me the most. You already have a glass.
It really, from a structural and engineering point of view, it doesn't work. We went through that. We did. It's a good question. But it doesn't really work with the way the building is constructed. And again, we're not looking to expand and/or change anything in the building. It won't function, and it doesn't function well. Wouldn't function at all, honestly.
I had a question. To try to preserve some of the historic appearance here, would you be open to having a grill pattern similar to the grill pattern that exists now in just the top panel, which is a fixed panel, in your opening here? That would help it retain some of its historic appearance.
Would you even see that with the awning down?
You wouldn't see it with the awning down, just as you don't see it with the awning down now.
Well,
But
if you're on the sidewalk, you can see it.
That's.
Yeah, if you're on the sidewalk.
My personal opinion is it's not, I don't think, I mean, I hear where you're coming from to a certain point. At the same time, I don't necessarily agree that it fits in with current architectural standards and what things look like within the community. I mean, I see things on that street that I question myself, you know, further down the road to the west, where that building company is, and they have, you know, I don't get it, but that's a separate issue.
That's why you're here now.
What?
Because of that, that's why you're here now.
Yeah.
The community has spoken.
Okay, fair point. And it's a very fair point. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I personally think this is a really attractive, good look. I think it's a more contemporary look, and that may be up for discussion. I get it.
It's
Contemporary versus historic.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that I'm going to call it hashed thing. And this was one of the first projects I ever did when I got involved in the business that I'm in. And then the architect that did it for me, I get it. He was a very traditional architect. It's you know, I could see it being a discussion, but I personally think for what we're doing that this might be a better application, but you know, it's up for discussion.
Any other comments, thoughts on this particular application?
Anybody online, possibly?
Yes, Peter, anybody online for this?
No one has their hand up.
Okay.
I mean, I do think if I throw myself at the mercy of the court, I do think from what this has become, from what it was back in the day to what now, I think it's a significant improvement, but that's, again, up for discussion.
Yeah,
You know,
you're in a historic district.
I know, but I'm not so sure that what I did in 1995 constitutes historical, you know.
Well,
Were those windows from 1995, or were those windows existing when you purchased them?
No, it wasn't anywhere close to this. It was a printing press once again, and I wish I had pictures from then. It was a printing press, and the building, this store on the left, was a window that was probably a quarter of that size. There was a small door. We took down the entire building with the exception of the east and west walls and the rear wall. The entire building was taken down. So the whole front went from, the printing press went from the easterly side of the building to 3/4 across to where that window is now, and probably even a little bit further. There was a small door that entered that. Trust me, again, I wish I had pictures. I don't. Unfortunately, I should have brought them. But it was nothing like this, and there was no historical significance whatsoever.
So
it was, you know.
So you installed those windows in 1995.
Correct.
Okay.
We took the entire building down again, with the exception of the exterior walls and the rear wall.
Yeah, that I think, to me, that makes a difference. Yeah,
And we did, and again, and I will, and listen, I'm very, I live here now, for almost 40 years now in the East End. I'm very sensitive to it. We also, at the time, we granted an easement to the town in the parking lot to do a pass-through in the back, because our property actually extends through the parking lot. And I forget the town attorney's name at the time, who, and if anyone here can remember, and I feel like I should remember, but he commented that.
John Bennett?
No, it wasn't John Bennett.
Bill Martin?
Well, he was the supervisor, I believe. or the attorney. He was the attorney, right? He was one of the attorneys. We granted an easement. We worked really well with the community. At the time, I had the option to add a second floor into the building. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it relevant. I really tried to do the right thing here and continue to try to do the right thing. And I think, we had them as a tenant for 30 years, and it was a great relationship, and it ran its course, as things tend to do. And I think this is only going to further the community in a really positive way. But, we've done the right thing for a long time, and, I plan on it, God willing, as long as I'm around. So, I don't know, whatever that's worth, so.
Okay. Are there any further comments? Okay. I think we need a resolution here to, if everybody's in agreement, to approve the proposed changes in the facade here, including windows and doors, as presented in the application. Can I have a motion? Okay. Second? Okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Well, I thank you, and I give you all my word, you will be happy with it. I will do my absolute best to make sure it looks great, and we'll come back for any other changes that may or may not need to be required. We're up in front of the ARB in 2 weeks from tonight, and we're going to do the right thing. And I thank you all. Thank
Okay.
you.
If there's any changes after you visit to the ARB, you know where we are.
I know where to find you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we have another visitor, Susanna Herman, for 22 Bay Avenue in East Quogue. I think, Bill, you took a look at this application? Okay, what portion of the report would you like me to go to here?
I would say if you want to start with the photos of the house. Yeah, that one. Okay. So we've already reviewed this property in 2019. There was an addition on the rear of the house that was reconstructed. A second floor dormer roof was redone and a bay window was added to the side of it. We reviewed the property at that time and we had no objection to the application. The application now is to do a garage with a pool house in it to the right of the house in the area that is the driveway and parking area. So Bay Avenue is one of the first streets extended to the bay from Montauk Highway and was opened about 1860. It's noted on the 1873 map, but no development is apparent in the vicinity of the subject property. The subject property is identified in the 2014 AKRF, Southampton Historic Resources Survey, as EQ27, and the residence has an AYB of 1895 in the town records. The 1902 historic map shows the property to be owned by B.F. Rogers at that time, but no building is shown on the property. The 2014 East Quogue Hamlet Heritage Area Report notes that the two-story home was constructed about 1910 and is noted as owned by F.L. Terrell on the 1916 historic map. 8 additional historic resources are identified on Bay Avenue near the property and collectively with the remainder of the village have the potential to support a potential historic district. In 2019, the large addition was done on the rear of the residence. The roof line on the second floor shed dormer was modified and the bay window added to the side. Since that time, a swimming pool has also been added to the property behind the house. The current application is for construction of a one-story garage pool house next to the existing dwelling and conversion of a third-floor bedroom to a bathroom in the dwelling. The floor plans do not show the windows on the third floor, and exterior elevations of the dwelling were not presented as well. But I did speak to the applicant and was advised that the windows will remain as they are. They're not being changed. There are no changes to those windows, so there will be no outward appearance to what occurs on the house. The dwelling on the property is visible only through a gap in the front hedge necessitated by the driveway. The proposed garage pool house will eventually span the width of the driveway and parking area and be aligned with the front of the dwelling, not the porch, but the first floor wall beyond the porch. Due to the hedge in front of the house, none of the other sides of the garage are anticipated to be visible from the street. As you go down up to the drawing, this is the garage that's presented. Stephanie and I had discussed this, and it's a little awkward in sort of the space above the garage doors is unusually high. The reverse gable is unusually small. The garage doors are not specified. Oftentimes, doors that look like this contain translucent panels so that when you turn on the lights on the inside, it glows through the doors on the outside. And it doesn't really have any of the sort of character or details of the dwelling on the property. So we were hoping that, and I know there were variances granted for this garage, and we were hoping that it could be pushed back a little bit. There is room behind this building. Between it and the pool, it could shift back a little bit so that it wasn't as prominent as the front of the house. And if it could be detailed in such a way that the reverse and the doors were more in keeping with the historic character of the dwelling. Yeah, and the house is in great condition, and also the AKRF had stated that it was worthy of review for landmarking.
Would you like to say a few words?
Hi, I'm the agent for the application, Susanna Herman from N Consultants. I don't know if the architect was able to attend on Zoom. I know he had a sick child and I wasn't really expecting him. Moving the garage / pool house back away from the road would be problematic. I mean, we would have to go back to the Zoning Board of Appeals. We had to get a small variance from total side yard setbacks for that. It's pretty close already to the existing slate patio, which the family uses adjacent to the swimming pool. It is set back visually from the front porch. It's in line with the front of the house. And it's designed to work with the pool and the addition that was built in 2019. It's sort of centered or lined up with the edge of the pool so that works as sort of like a backyard, courtyard type feel when you're in the backyard. It's designed with the same finishes as the existing house, the same type of siding and roof material, so that aesthetically it would blend into that. And it's not that close to the road, and we don't need a variance for the street setback. It's over 60, it's almost 63 feet from the road. So it is set back farther than the existing house, and it meets the zoning setback from the road. So, I mean, it would take a long time to go back through that process, to go back to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And it would really push it too close to the swimming pool. mean, here's a view from the backyard. The cedar shake, the natural cedar shake, that's the addition, which you can't see from the road. This board approved that in 2019. They took off sort of the hodgepodge back part of the house that had been added onto over the years, and kept the original mass of the house.
So that garage is butted up against this side of the house, it takes out that bay.
Microphone.
No, it's separated from the house. Oh, I don't have a dimension on here, but it's about 15 feet from the house at least.
okay.
So we're about 14 feet from the side property line. We can't go any closer to the side property line because of pyramid. And then we're about, maybe a little bit farther from that bay window of the house. I don't have a dimension, but it's more than 15 feet.
Yeah.
So any closer to the house would feel too close to the house. But it's an area that's currently driveway. That's a view from the driveway.
I think some of the concern visually is the high plate height of the front facade of the garage, and especially since it being up against the house, how that would relate to the height of the eave at the porch. And it looks like it's almost an oversized, overheight garage for like a camper or something like that. It just seems like I see what the architect did to bring some of the language of the addition, but it seems that the garage height, based on the drawing, is much taller than the eave of the addition.
Let's see. We should have submitted plans. I don't know if you guys get that in your package, as far as the height.
To shift it.
No, I haven't seen them.
Yeah, so when you're looking at one of the photos that you handed out, you can see where that little reverse gable comes from. It is on the back part of the house, which of course isn't the historic part. Our concern is more than looking at it from the road. You don't see the addition in the back, but you do see the front of the garage. And I can understand, looking at the cross-section, that they want to get greater height in that sort of pool house section on the back of the garage. But they could bring down the plate height in the front, because that's just the garage inside. And then if that came down closer to the top of the garage doors, again, it would look more like the height of the porch.
And I think there wouldn't be as much of a need visually to push it back further, because it would relate a little more to the scale of the house.
Yes.
Just to answer your question, the height of the garage is 14 feet. That's not the concern, it's the angle of the roof. I'm sorry, I'm not an architect, I don't know.
No, it's okay.
What does plate height mean?
Plate height is the top of where the wall would meet the roof coming down.
Okay,
Right.
So it just seems,
The plate
like
height
if
is
the
lower than the
plate height
roof
is lower than
comes down
the
more.
scale
Yes.
of the building when you're looking at it is lessened.
okay.
It just seems a little bit overscale for having it be so close to the house as it is.
Right, so that would definitely help if they could bring that down, as you say, so it looks more like the height of the
That
porch.
visually,
So
the
this
garage
is
doesn't
what-
look
So
so
that
massive.
line would go down, to an,
So
we'll
what
let the
kind of
architect kind of determine what would work, especially if they look at elevations of the house, of where the line of the porch or something, because it is so close to the historic house, it's really important to have a balance and take some sort of datum from that house and carry it across if we're not able to give it as much breathing room and space.
So try to match this line.
Something like that.
Or be closer to
much
that.
closer, because right now it's several feet above
Okay.
that.
I mean, I can talk to the architect about doing that. Is there any way we could get this approved contingent on that small change?
Yes, it's not an approval.
So
So you
we're
would make
making a recommendation.
Yes.
Okay,
So we don't have the ability to tell you what you can and cannot do on this application. It's not a landmark, it's just, it's an historic resource, which means it's prior to 1941. So we make recommendations of what we think it should be, but at the end of the day, we can't force you to do any of the things that we're recommending.
Okay, so I will definitely make that recommendation
Okay.
to lower the plate height.
I think it would be
You'll
helpful.
know what I mean.
Yeah, it would be helpful for them if they ever did want to go forward with the landmarking process, keep the character of the house. It's very hard to undo something like that. That could be a minor change later versus just doing it now.
Okay.
And do you know, because the drawings don't have anything specific about what type of garage doors they are?
On the architectural review board sheet that was submitted from the architect, it says glass,
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
that's what I was afraid of.
yes, that's what we,
It's also odd that the two garage doors, because it's actually two garage doors, there's only 6 inches in between them, so it really has the appearance of like an 18-foot wide door.
yeah, it's like a glass
It'd be
wall.
nice to sort of separate them a little bit. Yeah, and then definitely the glass in the door is not a traditional detail,
Yeah.
but it is a popular one.
Yeah, I mean, changing those to something, it still could be a roll-up door, but a solid door with a more of a
Sort of a
appearance
carriage
that would
house
be,
look.
yeah, a carriage house look would be far more in keeping, I think, with the style of the house. And again, if there was any thought of landmarking in the future, it certainly would help to have something that was more copacetic with the architecture of the house.
okay. I will make that recommendation as well.
We have a Ben Rosenblum with their hand up on Zoom.
That's the architect.
Oh, great,
I'll bring him on now.
thank you. Hello,
Yeah, hi, how are you?
good.
Good. I'm at home at the moment, and my 7-year-old's in the background, so you may hear him roaming around asking about dinner. But to answer one of the questions, the question about the datum of the porch, the overhang portion in the front of the garage lines up at exactly the same height with the existing porch. And so that already meets the condition you were suggesting.
What height overhead door are you using? Is that a 7-foot or an 8-foot?
Currently, that's showing a 7-foot door.
Wondering if proportionally an 8-foot door may be better.
It might, because the
Yeah.
front of that, yeah,
The proportions just seem out of character with the proportions of the house. I think maybe a taller garage door could fix that proportionally.
I think, let me actually double check that here. Yeah, we're showing a 7-foot. I'd be happy to do an 8-foot.
and would you be willing to consider something that's not the glass door, but more of a carriage house style door, a solid door, that's more in keeping with this architecture of the main house?
Actually, the intent here, but it's not clearly marked, is that the bottom 3 panels of the garage would be solid, and only the top. See how there's 5 sections?
Yes.
Only the top 2 would be glass.
Okay, what material would the solid portions of the door be? Would that be aluminum or is
That
it?
would be wood or something that looks like wood. The intent is for it to be wood.
Dinner time.
Yeah, for us too.
Yeah, that's my second kid just got home, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna change rooms.
Any other comments on the architectural issue here?
Yeah, I think a taller door, and the fact that it's not going to be a complete glass door.
Yeah, that's better.
That will help. That will definitely help.
And the,
Yeah, I think you're right. I think an 8-foot door is the way to go.
I think there was some question too about the distance between the two doors. It looks like there's just like a tiny little column in between them.
Is that enough for the two tracks to be placed side by side, or I feel like the doors may need to be spaced a little bit further for them to function with the track, unless there's a detail I'm not aware of.
I think what we're now thinking is to have this as one double wide door, and the spacing of the the solid and glass portion will be of a more traditional style.
Okay. It is facing the street, so when it's open, it's open.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't want that to be all glass either. That wasn't the intent. I think I could see why it's interpreted as such, though, by the way we are showing it.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a response back. I think it will include our suggestions for some changes here that might make it a little bit more, matching or coordinating with the existing historic structure. And as noted, our comments on this are advisory, but not requirements.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for coming on. It's very helpful.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
Nothing else on this one? Okay, thank you very much.
all right, thanks. When can we expect comments? Because they're wanting to get building.
Typically, our responses go out within a few days of this meeting, so I would expect them later this week or at the latest early next.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Moving back to our regularly scheduled programming. The next matter is 54 Hayground Road, the demolition application for the front porch
And rear deck.
and rear deck.
Okay. This particular property was on the agenda last month, and it was checked off as a demolition, but it also included a list with construction work, which appeared to be mostly done. And David consulted with David Wilcox, the building department, and it was determined that we should review just the demolition at this time, and the construction would be another application, and we would review that at some point in the future after it's submitted. And also would schedule the site visit at a time. So for the demolition for work that's already been done for removing the front porch and the rear deck, particularly the front porch, this particular structure was an 1880 Hayground schoolhouse. It was the third schoolhouse in Hayground, and it was moved circa 1912 by the John Cale Jr. family to this particular location and renovated as a house. So we have different vintage photos from 1912, and I would assume that that front porch was added at that time, and John Cale Jr. was a carpenter, so and his family was also in some other of their trades, so that would have most likely been done by his family. And also for the rear entrance, because it looks like, of course, it was adapted from the schoolhouse to the home. And it's also located on property that originally, that belonged to an original settler, Thomas Halsey. an original Southampton settler, and so that makes this, little triangle, or, particularly an interesting property historically. So for the, if you look at the picture there, you can see that the front porch has been removed. And we have photos from around, I think, like 2011, and it's boarded up. It looked like it was deteriorating. My one regret is we didn't get a chance to see it before it was demolished, so we could have possibly made a determination if anything could have been salvaged. But because the house, the basic structure of the house has been preserved, and from what I understand, there's a number of, the beams and like the floors are still there. So it sounds like a number of the, amount of historic fabric is still in the house, that I would propose we not object to the removing of the porch. I was inclined to object because we didn't see it, but most likely it was added, around 1912, and it was deteriorated condition. And the bulk of the house has been preserved, and that is a commendable thing, because it was, a number of even preservationists thought that it may eventually be demolished by neglect. So it has been preserved to this point. So I recommend that we not object to the removal of the demolition of the front porch in a small section of the rear deck. It was like an entranceway.
And could you?
I'll take care of that.
Make that response? Yeah, I think, again, given the before and after conditions here, it looks like the condition of the front porch was bad.
Yeah, it looks like it appears to be in bad condition. And it's maybe more a procedural thing, that a chance to look at it, versus actually we may have come to the same conclusion that it couldn't have been saved. So.
Yeah, okay. So this,
Okay.
I understand, will appear likely once they submit their construction application for the work
So
that's.
when that comes, we will deal with the construction that has occurred.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay, very good. Thank you, Susan.
Or future construction, for that matter, if there's any more to be done.
Okay, moving on to our next matter. We have on the agenda 33 Quantuck Bay Lane in Quiog. We are also going to be considering 31 Quantuck Bay Lane, which is the directly next door property. When Bill and I looked at this, it included all three lots that are under consideration for acquisition by CPF. And this is a situation where CPF is acquiring the three lots for open space preservation, and the requirement is that the owner remove the existing structures before the property is acquired. So, Bill, would you like to cover this? There's the
Okay.
location.
Yep. So Stephanie and I spent quite a bit of time walking through the dwelling and the detached garage. The dwelling is on 33 Quantuck Bay Lane. The garage is on 31 Quantuck Bay Lane. The house had a substantial fire, and beyond the fire was smoke and water damage. So it's really beyond repair at this point. There's some trouble in figuring out the date of the original house, whether it's 1750 all the way up to early 1800s. There seems to be some confusion, and also in the owner's names at those times. The garage has an AYB of 1935. The house has an AYB of 1756. So it was owned, if it is 1750, it was owned by John Sills Brewster and identified as Historic Resource QI2 in the town's AKRF. The detached garage building present at 31 Quantuck Bay Lane was not damaged by the fire. Demolition of both the house and detached garage is proposed. Other identified historic resources in the vicinity include the 1903 Quantuck Waterworks Building, QI1, a circa 1900 dwelling at 16 Quantuck Bay Lane, QI42, a 1933 dwelling at 18 Quantuck Bay Lane, QI44, and a late 19th or early 20th century Perrin Chalmers house, QI3, and Meadowcroft, the Lewis Conklin circa 1900 estate, QI4. Based on information contained in the Hamlet Heritage Area Report for Quiog, the historical profile of the Hamlet of Quiog 2007, the area that includes the subject property was acquired by John Sills Brewster in the early 1700s. He reportedly built his homestead here circa 1750, a portion of which may be part of the dwelling proposed for demolition. The portion, sort of the two-story portion of the house with the dormers on it, is what we believe to be the oldest part of the house. Yep, a couple more. Oh, almost. Yeah,
Lock up.
a couple more back.
Yeah, well, I'm working on it here.
Oh, yeah, it has to catch up with you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I seem
Okay.
to be having gremlins again.
Okay. Mr. Brewster operated a farm on the subject property. The 1873 map shows that the property was owned by J.S. Brewster, and the dwelling was present at that time. When John Brewster died in 1872, he reportedly left the farm to his wife and their son, William Brewster. As shown on the 1902 historic map, the property was owned by William Brewster in 1902, and several outbuildings were present. William Brewster is reportedly to have farmed the property until he sold it to Theodore B. Conklin shortly after 1902 and before his death in 1904. John Sills Brewster, homestead and farm, 33 Quantuck Road, often referred to as the Old Brewster Homestead. Part of this structure dates to about 1750. Part of Mr. Brewster's original farmstead was located where the present Montauk Highway meets the Quantuck River. When the county proposed to lengthen Montauk Highway across Brewster's farm, he refused to sell. Eventually, after much fighting, Mr. Brewster's land was condemned and Montauk Highway was extended. For the rest of his life, John Brewster refused to use the waste of taxpayers' money, as he called the highway. If he wanted to go to Quogue, he would travel north and cross the creek at Ferry Dell near the railroad crossing. When John Brewster died, he left his farm to his wife and his son William. Along with the farmstead, John Brewster left his family a cloth bag with $200 in shiny gold coins that the county had paid him for the land. William farmed the land until he sold it to T.B. Conklin. In 1955, a partnership titled Quantuck Bay Farms bought about 30 acres, which included the Brewster Farm and the Halleck Farm to the northwest. This land was subdivided and homes were built. Okay. So yes, the house has an AYB of 1756. The shed, the garage and a shed have AYBs of 1935, but the shed no longer exists. The AKRF says, known as the Silas Brewster House, this appears to be an early vernacular structure with a cape form and early L addition. It has brick chimneys and wood side shingle cladding. A number of changes have been made to the structure, including 2 apparent later additions and multiple gable dormers. So, right, in the photo there, you can see this portion with the dormer. There's another one behind the first floor gable where the gable end is charred. That was the entry. There are 2 dormers on this side, 2 on the other. We believe from being inside the house that that's the oldest portion of the house. To the right looks more like 1910, 1920. It's much more shingle style inside. The framing materials that we could see are smooth sawn dimensional lumber. In the earlier part of the house, there are as marks in a lot of the framing. There are, as I took photos under the floor, I couldn't see it. I just sort of aimed my camera and took some pictures, and a couple of them came out okay. There are just peeled logs underneath the house. It's built right on the ground. There is no cellar anywhere under the house and no access into it any way that we could find. There are no certificates of occupancy or compliance for the dwelling at 33 Quantuck Bay Lane. There is a certificate of compliance from 2021 issued for the two-car garage. Photos of the garage, as you see, it looks like two buildings that were at some point joined together, the way the two roof lines come and meet in a valley in the center. Being in the garage, they weren't able to make that a watertight detail, and the ceiling and a lot of the wall was damaged because the water just would sit down in that crevice and get into the building. The Brewster family records in the Long Island surnames database provide a slightly different version of the early history of this property. These records indicate that Daniel Brewster and his wife Ann Sell settled in the West Hampton, Quayog area in about 1740 and proceeded to have 11 children, including a son, William Brewster, in 1752. It's possible that the subject property was owned by Daniel and Ann Brewster in the mid to late 1700s. Their son William married Hannah Foster, and they had one child, John Sills Brewster, born in West Hampton in 1788. Based on the timber frame construction of the apparent original portion of the dwelling, it's possible that William Brewster constructed the oldest portion of the dwelling at about the time of his 1779 marriage. It's also possible that his son, John Sills Brewster, constructed this portion of the dwelling at the time of his marriage in 1822. So there seems to be some confusion about the owners and the dates that they actually occurred. The fire damage, the smoke damage, the water damage was really extensive, and then the subsequent neglect to the house. We were told that something scampered across one of the second floor room ceilings while the owners were showing us through the house. There are definitely lots of signs of animal waste, raccoons and such. There are definitely things living in this house.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that picture was some stalls, which was interesting, inside the back portion of the house. The back portion of the house, there's siding inside one of the rooms, so it looks like perhaps there was an outbuilding and they joined the house to it.
Yeah.
That portion of the house, the roof appears to have a high point in the middle, as if it was built in two directions or built in two different times.
Yes.
You want the other laptop?
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Is there anything salvageable or any of the timbers?
Well, we did notice strap hinges on some of the doors. There's a lot of board and batten doors in the house. Once you get beyond the area of where the fire really was, in the oldest portion of the house, some of the doors are still in better condition. A lot of rim locks. Some of the interior doors are panel doors. Most of them were the board and batten doors. A lot of the interior finishes, you can see markings where it was lath and plaster. Other areas, it was beadboard. And this is as you get into the more shingle-style portion of the house. This was an interior leaded glass window between the hall and the stairwell.
Yeah, there is a lot of damage in here though, and both fire and smoke damage and then water damage as well. The roof is not at all in good condition. So there are some things that could be salvaged in here. Suspect that some of the materials in here may contain asbestos.
Right. The 12/12 windows look original to this part of the house, which is probably early 1900s.
Yep.
And still look like they were in serviceable condition prior to the fire. The fireplace has benches on either side of it. This little grill work between one room and another. matching the spindles on the stairwell. And the older stairwell running up in the older part of the house seems like it was updated to match this stair at some point.
Yep.
Yep, early bathroom, old toilet with the tank raised up on the wall, wall-hung sink, claw and ball foot tub.
I think though, in the older portion of the house with the timber frame, that portion is so deteriorated that
Yeah.
I doubt that there's much in there that's particularly salvageable. Yeah. I was kind of thinking of, whether there was a rubble foundation here or something like that that could be potentially left during demolition. The owner has expressed that, he would like to salvage some materials if somebody was willing to take them. And I provided some contact information for that if people want to.
Right. The foundations that we could see were mostly brick, or some of them appeared to be sort of a cement board, which was covering probably a wood post foundation.
Okay.
We didn't see any rubble from the outside or poured concrete or CMUs or anything, just the brick.
Down there, so how much I've got batteries. Sorry.
There we go.
You got those?
Thank you. I'm going to try to do something here with a laptop that does not have Adobe that wants to crash.
So the fire was unfortunate, but the house at this point isn't really salvageable. So the CPF wants it to be removed prior to them closing on the property. They want it as open space.
Was this reviewed by the Landmarks Board a few years ago?
Yeah.
It was, right?
Yeah, the family, they were going to sell it, and then there was disagreement amongst the family. So you did this before about it. That was for all three properties,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
For a demo permit?
For a demo, yes.
I don't recall that, and I don't have any record of that in my
I
files.
don't think it was like a public hearing to purchase. I think it was.
It wasn't
It wasn't CPF, it was just the applicants wanted to do the demo. Because I remember all of this history.
There was some meeting that they were actually here, but that may have been a board meeting rather than a landmarks board.
I don't think it was a landmarks board meeting, because I think I would have remembered it.
It might have been a public hearing that the buildings would be demoed.
All right, Peter. You need help.
All right.
Anyway,
Okay.
Bill, would you file the response on this? I assume we're not going to have any objection to.
So what happens if some of the hardware wants to get salvaged? The only thing I can think of are the strap hinges.
Yeah, you could contact the applicant and let him know that there was an interest in salvage. How do we?
What did Joe say to do? In a case like he said, oh, it's fine. Okay,
I already signed in as it came up as town user, and so I signed in with this password, and now we get to hear.
All right, let me try this out. Hold on. God, come on. Sorry, everyone. What the hell is that?
Maybe we'll just continue with this for now.
Yeah,
We'll make do.
I'll talk to Joe about this
Okay,
tomorrow. Sorry
very
about
good.
that.
No problem.
I'll get that later.
Okay. Thank you. Plan B didn't work. Okay. Very good. Moving on to 129 Halsey Lane in Bridgehampton. This is proposed demolition of a circa 1927 dwelling and associated structures. Did anybody take a close look at this one? I took a look at the application. What we have here is a structure that reportedly dates to 1927, and it has had a considerable number of renovations, changes, etc. Let me see if I can pull up some photographs here. There's another large application. It is not going to like this. It's a picture of the back of the house with this this addition on it. This is the front of the house. It looks to me like this at one time may have been maybe even a craftsman or something like that, but it's obviously been changed quite considerably from what it once was. It is not listed as a historic resource. And what they're proposing to do is demolish this residence and an associated structure and build a very large residence on this property. I'm not familiar with this neighborhood. Is anybody familiar with this area?
This is Halsey Lane.
Yeah, this is Halsey Lane, 129.
Hold on one second. So that's some of there's historic structures on that were moved from Main Street at one point.
Mm-hmm.
When this area was open, Osborne Park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that house looked quite different. So we were discussing the historic district for like a residential historic district. This one was non-contributing.
This would be a non-contributing one in that district? Okay. Okay. I didn't see any reason to object to this particular demolition. No. Okay, so we will send a response. I'll take care of sending this response out. Okay. Moving on. Let's see, we have, the next one is 21 Lighthouse Road. I think you looked at this one, Tim?
I did. We had reviewed this in 2024, and it came in as a reapplication for some work on the third floor. And when we were reviewing that proposal, I noticed that some windows in the plan were different from the original application, so we asked for updated exterior elevation drawings. When the drawings were provided and the photos of as-built were also provided, it differed from the original approval, but I think in a way that's more in character with the house. So it was a case where deviations between the approval process and the construction process worked in the favor of the resource. But
how unusual.
How unusual. And I guess I put as part of a document that I sent out today, whether as a board we should talk about whether we could or should have some sort of mechanism prior to a CO being issued to ensure that there's at least some sort of conformance with the approval before a certificate is issued by the building department. I know that's a big ask, and in this case, it's not really relevant to this application, but it could have gone a different way.
If they amend their application, the building department's supposed to send it here.
Which they did in this case, but it seems they amended the application after things had been built, like the porch details changed significantly. They improved architecturally, but they were different.
Yeah. So what you're suggesting then is that it be resubmitted for our review before they make the changes, or?
As a matter of procedure, I think that would be good if you're getting an approval from the board and not having an objection. If you do changes to footprints of porches or other things, I think it would be nice to have what is actually built reflect our recommendation.
More importantly, they should let the building department know
Yes.
They're gonna build it different than what they got a permit for.
I mean, in this case, it was, and I think to note, when things like that would happen, that would be an easy review on our part, and we would most likely be able to pass on full review, send responses back to the building department almost immediately if it's a de minimis thing, or if it's something where, in this case, it luckily improved. But we do have to protect
Get it.
the resources of the town
Yeah.
by making sure there is some sort of mechanism where if things go south, there's some recourse.
How do we get this message to the building department?
Well, it's very possible that they weren't aware that there were changes being made until they
really,
went out and did an inspection
Right.
and said, oh, you didn't build what you got a permit for, you need to go to the landmarks board for this. And it was already built.
Yeah.
You know, if the building inspectors can catch it while it's in the process, that's another story, and they would, I would think, put a stop work order and say, you need to amend your permit. And I don't know what the circumstances were here, but it's possible that they just were not aware of the changes until after it was already done.
Right. If this might help, there is a Stephen Hill here on Zoom for 21 Lighthouse.
Okay?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I just wanted to join, see if there were any questions I could help with.
Do you want to?
I guess the question would be, when did the design of the porches drastically change from the initial submission?
When I got the bids for the work.
Do you have two microphones there? Are you getting? We're getting feedback.
Oh, I got his phone open.
Yeah.
I only have.
You have headphones?
I'm sorry, the audio isn't working.
It's okay. I think it's just, as a board, we have a duty to protect historic resources. This, we had provided no objection. The changes that were made are, in my opinion, in character with the architecture of the house, so it's not an issue. So more, it's just, as a board, procedurally trying to deal with what could happen if someone did what you did, but didn't do something that was architecturally appropriate. So it's not so much about your application as about how we can just procedurally make things work a little bit better for us to protect the resources, for applicants to have it not be a horrific process, and for the building department to not bury everybody in paperwork.
Well, these changes get made in the process of doing the construction usually.
Right, if it wasn't and it seems that changing the footprint of the porch and not having second floor balconies seems like that would be something you would need to amend the building permit for.
Right.
And maybe at the point when they were going for the third floor habitable space, that was included in that, but it's built, and it would have been nice to be able to
See it before.
just see it before. It wouldn't have changed what was done in this case. That's not always.
Yeah, that's not always the case. So I don't know how we can change that. It's, it's the building department catching this stuff usually in process or not long after it's happened
Right.
already.
I think we can at least note that it happened,
Mhm.
so that when we run into cases like this, we can document patterns.
Yeah.
And then see if this, with CLG status, I'm sure this is something that we have to be mindful of and track things like this.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So
Let's
I
have-
have no
No
objection.
objection to
No,
what's
so
what's
I'll
happened.
file a response, and they'll, should have it by the end of the week.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's see, next application would be 159 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. This is one that had an initial review. It was interior alterations only, and it was determined that we did not need to do a further review. 118 South Country Road in Remsenburg. This is proposed replacement of a fire-damaged cottage associated with a historic resource. Bill and I both looked at this cottage. It didn't seem to be a particularly historic, and it was indeed severely fire damaged. So we came to the conclusion that we did not need to do a full review. 69 Church Lane in Bridgehampton. Has anybody taken a close look at this one? I reviewed the application myself. Let's see, it's 69. This is the front of the house. There are no changes proposed to the front of the house. This is a circa 1850, I believe, building, identified as a historic resource, BHHD 16. What they're proposing here is to put a breezeway essentially out to the back, and then to rebuild, expand an art studio in the back. I think the only thing from the elevations that I could see that you're going to see from at all from the front of the house is they are going to put a porch partially wrapping around one side of the house, this side over here, and then around to the back. And that will be the only thing that you see from Church Street. This is the side of the house. We are locking up once again. I'll close this.
Just as the side As an aside, as you're pulling that back up, the Landmarks Board did review this in March of 2016 for interior only, and so that did not warrant review.
Yeah.
And again in May 2016 for solar panels, and they were to the rear, and there were no objection.
Thank you, Susan. All right. So this is the portion of the building where the changes are going to take place. This is essentially going to be bumped out, and here's the other side of the building. And then this is the art studio in the back with this pergola on the side of it. There's a pergola on the side, and there's the inside of the pergola, and then there's a bunch of photographs of the inside. I'm trying to get to the elevations at the bottom, which is where we can get to some interesting stuff. If it will please let me shrink this. No, it's not responding again. Damn it. It was behaving itself so well in the beginning, and it never did this when we tested it out. Okay. Okay, so here's the layout. They've cut off actually the front of the building. This is the rest of the front of the house up here because there's no changes. This is the wraparound porch I spoke about. This is the connecting building. This is the art studio out here. And then the patio with the pergola over it that's proposed. And let me see. These are some of the elevations. This is what the art studio pergola is going to look like. This will be the connector going from the back of the house back to here. This is what it's going to look like from the side of the house. You can't see it from the street because it's all behind the house.
Is that a breezeway or is that heated space?
That's a good question, and I'm not sure I know the answer to that. And then this is that wraparound porch again. This is the art studio in the back, and then this is the connecting structure. So that's what's proposed. I didn't see any particular problem with this because it's all going to be behind the house and not visible from the street. And there's no changes, again, proposed for the front of the structure. Anybody have any other thoughts on this?
We have Peter Cook on Zoom.
Okay. Could you bring him on, please?
Back to the floor plan.
I'm not sure I can. No, I can't. I have to bring the whole thing up again. Peter, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time tonight.
Yep.
I think I'm joined on Zoom by the owner and his husband, Father Jim Irwin and Trip March. Just a quick question or a quick answer to your question is yes, the conservatory between the two buildings is a conditioned space. It will be a room. So it will be connecting the currently art studio to the main house as a first floor primary bedroom.
Nice. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Cook? Okay, not hearing anything. I see no reason to object to this. I'm not hearing any objections from the board, so we will file a response.
Very good. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Could I ask that somebody else file this response for us? Vicki, would you be able to do that? Okay. Okay. And we have Gremlin in the computer. The next application is 72 Fanning Avenue in Hampton Bays. Okay. And for which we have determined that further review is not warranted. Even better. Same thing is true for 10 Summit Boulevard in West Hampton. We have proposed additions and renovations to a circa 1940 dwelling. Bill looked at this and he and I came to the conclusion that further investigation is not warranted. And the changes are actually going to, I think, vastly improve the structure. Moving on to our COA discussions for Beaver Dam Lane, that is still pending. 533 David White's Lane. We're going to hold off on this, or are we going to discuss this one tonight? 533 David White's Lane.
The architect is on Zoom.
Okay, we are going to discuss it then. Where is this?
All right, this is a pre-discussion.
That's right, it's the pre-discussion for this. And Okay, this is Nicole.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I'm Nicole Adams. I'm the architect for the property. And we were here because the owner just purchased the property and we're looking to just replace the siding. I think of the next, maybe the next few pages, I think it might be 105. We're looking to replace the siding in kind, the roof in kind, and windows in kind, just to fortify the existing structure.
Okay,
Without make any kind of
my
changes.
apologies. I have to bring this up again. I'm having a.
Do you want me to, am I able to share? Because I could pull it up if that's easier.
Go right ahead.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? Just so you know, Adobe Acrobat has been messing absolutely everybody up. So it's not just you.
Oh,
It's really been a problem. I think they changed their system and for the past few months, everyone's been upset about it. But anyway, so this is the existing structure that is landmarked on 533 David White's Lane. And we are looking to just clean the project up. Existing shingles, existing windows, there's an asphalt roof on it, and we're just wanting to replace them. So before doing anything, we just wanted to see if that was okay. We'd spoken a little bit with David about it and didn't know how to proceed.
okay. So it looks
So
like.
that, I'm sorry.
From what I can see here, you're going to be replacing existing cedar shake with new cedar shake
Yes,
and existing asphalt roofing with new asphalt roofing
yes.
to match. Are there new windows proposed?
Replacing existing windows in their locations, in their situations. We're not looking to do any interior work, and even if we are, which would be later on, the layout would stay the same. So the windows are just fine. We just want to make them watertight and sealed and operable.
Are they original windows for this structure?
It doesn't seem like it. I think the story with this house is it was moved in the early 1900s. So the glass is not, there's some double panes in there. It's not old glass.
Mm-hmm.
That back slider is not.
Yeah, certainly the back slider wouldn't be, but
Right.
I think we need a better understanding of the nature of the existing windows, whether some of them may be original.
The owner may be, who's also would he be able to talk on that or I could also provide photos, go back and provide photos, but he may know.
It would be helpful to provide photos, plus if there's going to be a COA requested for this, that we do an observation, a site visit to just check the condition of the windows.
So would we be able to do that separately from the roof and the siding so that he could get going, or no?
I think if we're replacing roofing material in kind and replacing siding material in kind, I don't think we have any issue with that. That's essentially maintenance.
Okay. So the windows will need to, I guess you guys will need to go and take a look, or do you want documentation from me?
Yeah, why don't we start with documentation from you?
Okay. Okay, no problem. And then there was one other topic that we just wanted to bring up. We know that you guys, this is not your jurisdiction, but we just wanted to bring up that we're in the process of going through a ZBA approval for the property, where we would build a house, have this zoned as a carriage house, keep it as existing, and build a house in the back of the property. And I know that the property is, I think I spoke with David a little bit about this. The property isn't landmarked, it's just that house that's landmarked, but just wanted to, as a kind of just, courtesy or a kind of a conversation, just show that was what we were planning on doing. And we just kind of did a little perspective from the street of what you might even see of that house behind.
So the proposed house would be behind the existing.
Yeah, like if I go back to like the site plan,
Mm-hmm.
it would be, so obviously the existing house does not conform to any of the setbacks. So this house would be completely in the, within the setbacks, the side, front and rear setbacks. So it's behind, there's a front hedge, which is what we see in that photo. And then there's another hedge behind the existing carriage house that would also buffer it. But the perspective from the street and the hedge from the street, you don't really see the new house.
Is
So,
the intention to retain the hedge between the two structures?
yes, it is. Yeah.
No.
If the hedge were to die or not be maintained, you're gonna then have a clear view of the new house.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Although that's not usually the case.
No.
The hedges only seem to grow rather than go away.
Stephanie, did we receive a link or any plans? I looked for some, couldn't find any.
Yeah, there was a set of plans, which is what's up there right now. It's a 9-page document that was circulated. If we're going to issue a COA for windows and anything else that you're actually changing on this structure as opposed to maintaining in kind with existing, we should see that in a COA application with the associated plans for those changes.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? Plan changes to the structure? There's no changes to the structure.
Well,
It's
you're talking about
replacing-
changing out windows.
Right, okay.
That's a change. That's not maintenance.
Okay.
Replacing shingling in kind with existing, replacing roofing in kind with existing is maintenance. We don't need to see a COA application for that. But if you are proposing to change out windows, change out doors, and do other things that change any historic fabric in the structure, that's what we need to see a COA for.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll need a COA application.
for the windows.
Yeah, for the windows. And are you planning to change any doors or other aspects of the structure?
Yeah, that rear slider we would change, and we would, the rear slider, yeah, which is I think the only other door.
No, nothing, no other doors, no other chimneys, nothing
No,
else?
no.
Boards on the gables, molding trim on the
Yeah.
exterior.
Yeah, are you
Microphone.
doing anything to change any of the moldings or trim or anything else on the exterior?
No, it's just flat stock, and we would be replacing it, everything exactly as is.
Okay, so you're replacing existing wood flat stock with new wood flat stock.
And I can provide a better sheet of what's existing, and what we would be replacing it with. I'm just saying it's in kind.
Okay, yeah, so that's what should be in COA application.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions, comments on this? And you understand what's needed?
I do.
Okay.
There was a question
Okay.
about a generator also, I think.
Oh, yes, there's a generator. I believe the plans show an existing generator on the property
Yes.
to be removed/moved. Do we know where it's going?
Yeah, I think I think I got an email requesting information on it, and I think I said that they actually decided that they're gonna leave it there.
Okay, so the generator is not going anywhere. Okay. So then,
Do you happen to know, did you happen to see anywhere where there's a permit pending on that generator?
I don't have
Is it
that
in
information.
your records? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll leave it in its location.
Okay. All right. So when you submit the COA application, the plans should just show, existing generator to remain.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
The owner may just want to jump on. So is this do I just come back, is it a whole nother month, or can those things just be supplied to you guys?
I think we need to, I think it will be heard in December when you've submitted the application and we've had time to review it. And we may want to go take a look at those windows.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that would be the schedule.
I'm just out of curiosity, what constitutes a window, just because I'm just curious, what would constitute a window that, would be of worth? If it's not like a 80s
It
window.
would be a window that would be something that would be either original to the house or a window that would appear of a similar nature to what would have been original to the house. So I wouldn't have expected this house to have 1/1 windows originally.
Right.
It might have had, 6/6 true divided light windows, something like that. So usually when we take a look at these buildings, we can kind of tell what is likely to have been original and what is likely to have been a replacement.
Okay.
So.
And since we are pretty sure that they're not original and they're just modern old windows, is there anything in you making a judgment on it that, replacing them as they look now, or trying to make should we just be replacing them? That's what we were trying to do to expedite this and get the house closed up, is to replace in kind what is there. But is there something that would make that not be appealing?
Well, I know in the past we've had landmarked houses with a variety of non-original windows. And in the case of one house I'm thinking of in particular that we have given landmarks maintenance grants to before, the owner was desirous of returning the house to something resembling an original appearance, even though she had, I think, essentially no original windows left. She had a lot of, 1/1s and other things that were not period appropriate. And she went through and she replaced many of the windows to date with, I believe, 9/6 or 6/6 true divided light windows that are obviously not original, but they resemble what would have been there originally in terms of being true divided lights. And the view from the street, the view from the public way, the house looks more in keeping with what it would have originally looked like.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
No, we'll we'll get documentation over of what's existing and submit that and try and get that going as fast as possible. But the roof and the siding can go, right?
The roof and the siding can be replaced in kind.
Okay, thank you.
But you have to wait for the COA to be issued for that. The building
Oh.
department won't give you the permit yet. Well, you don't need a building permit, but you do need the COA written.
For the siding and roofing to be replaced?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, no, because it's maintenance.
It's maintenance.
All right, so what you're saying is this does not need a COA because it's maintenance.
Yeah,
Correct.
just the roofing replacement and just the siding replacement in kind with the existing.
Got
They
it.
don't need a building permit either. So,
Right.
but there should be something in writing saying you don't need a COA.
For these two things.
Right, and then describe what it is and why it's not needing a COA.
All right. So what we could do is we can issue just a determination.
Yes.
Okay. All right. If that will facilitate things.
There should always be a written record of the decision, whether it's for a COA or not for the COA.
Okay. Okay. All right, so we will issue a determination regarding the roofing materials and the siding, a replacement in kind with existing, and then that will go out in a few days, and then you could proceed with that work, and then get us the COA application for the windows.
Window. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, bye.
Bye-bye.
You know, the shingle replacement or the siding wise could become kind of a problem
Microphone.
with the exterior casing.
Your mic, Larry.
If the exterior casings on the windows overlap the shingles, which they sometimes do, you have to pull off the casings to be able to get the shingles in next to the window frame. Then you put the casing over it and it covers the joint usually. And a lot of times it has, you put in flashing, metal flashing that turns out onto the side of the window frame, then that gets covered by the casing. So it's, could be kind of problematic if they start replacing the siding without dealing with the windows at the same time. They could end up damaging, if they are original windows, damaging them to the point that, you know, they're gonna have to be replaced anyway.
Okay.
That looks familiar.
Moving onward, we have a question as to whether a COA is needed. This is for the repair work at the Bridgehampton Community House at 2357 Montauk Highway in Bridgehampton. This is, David, thank you for sending this photograph. This is a picture of the work in progress as of today. And there was a set of plans submitted for this work. And essentially, as I understand it, they're taking each one of these columns off, shipping them to Riverhead to be rehabilitated.
These are being put back, this is being
Yeah.
put back.
That's today.
That's already been done.
It's been done.
Yes.
Okay. And nothing ever happened. We never saw it. Do we know if any of like the parts of the columns at the top or the bottom or anything had to get replaced? Because
I'm sure 3 of the columns were in pretty good shape.
Mhm.
One was not, was rotted out of the bottom.
Uh-huh.
So I think they were replacing that.
Okay. Do we know how they replaced it? What they replaced it with?
I was told it was all gonna be wood.
Wood.
Oh, it would be wood,
Yeah.
like they are now.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
It was interesting when they took them down, one of the columns, when they took it down, the little cap thing
Mhm.
came off, and it had the name Ray Besendin, and he was the carpenter, and he lived in Sag Harbor, know where he lived, and he worked for East Hampton Lumber Company way back when.
Cool.
And he was John Steinbeck's like handyman when John Steinbeck bought his house in Sag Harbor, so it was a nice find. I took a picture.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Any year on there with that? or-
1923, I think. is when they
Okay. All right. Well, if that's what happened, you know, if they just rehabilitated them and replaced some rotten wood, that sounds like maintenance to me.
Yeah.
So,
Originally, Tom had asked, he's like, what can we do? I'm like, you need to restore them, so that's what they did.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just wasn't sure if, you know, if they had to, if one of them completely collapsed and they had to replace it
They were
with
in
something else.
relatively good shape, yeah.
Good. Excellent. Right, I don't see a need for a COA here. Okay. All right. Do we need a determination that there's no need of a COA?
Yeah.
Oops. All right.
Maybe we can develop a standard form.
We need something like that, yeah. Need or COA. Okay. I will send something out on that one. And I'll send the other determination thing out on that one. Okay. The next one, the 2426 Montauk Highway in Bridgehampton, that's already been covered. We've already covered 53 Foster Avenue in Hampton Bays, and I think we look forward to reviewing the report next month. 116 Montauk Highway in West Hampton, Bill, you and I we need to get a report together on that one. This is the West Methodist Church. So that'll be continued on till next month. 439 Hayground Road in Bridgehampton has been designated as a landmark. I got the announcement in today from the town. So that one will be removed from our agenda.
And they also received a development right so that they can
Yes.
convert the existing house to a carriage house and build a new house in the back, which is very similar to what
These
this one
guys.
that,
Yeah,
David White's Lane will do.
okay. The mechanism works.
And there's another one in the works for that same process.
Okay. 65 Old Riverhead Road in Hampton Bays. Ed is going to be working on this report. Julie had asked about it, and it sounds like it may appear for our January meeting. So that's to be continued. 11 Walnut Avenue in East Quogue. All right, so the story with 11 Walnut Avenue, assuming this decides to open. Oh, it's probably opening down here. There we go. Okay, so this is the house at 11 Walnut Avenue, which has now been designated by the town as a landmark, although I have been informed that the papers have not been yet filed with the county to record it. And at the time that we reviewed this, the owner had informed Bill and myself that he had intended eventually to put a garage with a breezeway somewhere back here, and he had it on his plans, and we said, fine, that shouldn't be a problem, and we'll see it when we see it. And he recalls having a discussion with us about the nature of what this building might look like. I personally didn't recall the discussion, but it's been 2 years since we first met with him and had this discussion. At any rate, since that time, and before he was landmarked, he submitted an application to the building department for a garage with a breezeway, which was approved without being referred to the Landmarks and Historic Districts Board. So that was a problem. And the foundation for this structure is now in. Nothing else is up yet. And Julie happened to notice this when you went by because the owner wants a facade easement. And a facade easement has been negotiated but not yet closed, not yet done. And you were doing
I was doing the report before we close, exactly what it looks like. And I noticed foundation.
Yes.
I was a little baffled.
Nobody was aware of.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so we have a situation here where we have a project that has a permit and the construction is underway. And there's some urgency because he wants to put solar panels on the south roof and he wants to get his federal tax credits, which apparently expire at the end of the year. Where did that go? The rendering. Yeah, I mean, I was on the phone with him yesterday at lunch and he expressed some urgency to me. Where is that rendering? There it is. So, this is what the structure will look like. It's almost the same size as the house, and it's sort of a modern barn design. Some vertical siding here, 2 windows on the front, but not divided light like here. The garage doors at least are on the side, not facing the street. This is the street facade. This is the side you can see from the seat. Here's his roof, where, as I understand, these solar panels are proposed. And he's got another vertical window over here. It was felt that the structure might be out of keeping with the character of the house. So the question is, where do we go from here? He doesn't have this built yet. He's obviously invested in plans. He would like to get his work done. Bill and I were just kind of talking out there about what could be done to make this garage more in keeping with the house. And it may be that because it's separate from the house, it may be okay. So, opinions from the board is what do we think about this proposed garage?
Do we know what material the siding and the roofing will be?
I don't know what the roofing's gonna be, but he supposedly is gonna have solar panels on this, he said on the south roof, which is that roof. It looks to me like a standing seam metal roof. He did mention, I believe, vertical siding that would be boards and allowed to weather. This house is, weathered shingles. So the siding, at least the color of it, sounds like it may be similar to the color of the house when the boards weather.
Is that the south side?
This is the south side. This is the south side.
I thought that house was on the west side of the street.
No, it's on the east side of the
Oh,
street.
okay.
It's on the east side of the street.
Okay.
Street's not straight north-south, but
Yeah,
it's on the east side.
Okay.
This is the front facade. So this is the facade you see, which I know the plan that you had, Julie, that, it was not a three-dimensional plan, it was just a flat.
Yeah.
So it looked like everything was right front and
Right,
center.
right. I mean, I it's understood that it's set back and it's not obstructing the view of the south side of the house, which has now become quite visible, because they removed quite a few trees and things, so,
Yeah, well, it's always been fairly visible. I mean, even when we went there earlier, there's a bunch of walnut trees in the yard.
Yeah.
A bunch of them have been removed, but there's still some.
Yeah.
But I mean, the house has always been pretty visible, at least from the times that we've seen it, the past couple of years. Originally, they did have some shrubs around the front that were pretty overgrown, and they've been removed. And this is what it looks like now. I mean, so I think there's kind of two ways to think about this. You could think that, okay, it's a separate structure from the house. It's set way back from the house. What you're going to see, you'll see it from the street. There's no question about that. Probably won't see much of the side from the street, but you'll definitely see the front facade from the street. But you'll see it, I think, as a separate structure from the main dwelling. It is, I believe, going to be wood-sided, and we can get that confirmed. What I did ask for him to do is submit his plans to us so we can see the details for our next meeting. So it may be that we consider this as it's proposed. The other thing that could be done potentially is to redesign this so it more closely resembles the original house. But then we have the question of, we know that this isn't historic, and this is historic. Do we want to have the garage structure resemble the original house?
Stephanie, one thing I'm noticing is that the massing of the original house, the front wall is broken up with that porch roof, so it doesn't seem as massive. So I think one of the things that's just slightly disconcerting about this plan is that the front of the garage just has that two-story sheer wall. And you see on the back of the garage addition, they have some sort of pergola structure or something to break down that scale and relate to the porch on the back. Maybe a pergola structure or something going to that breezeway connector in front of the front wall of the garage could be something to help mitigate the scale and tie it into the scale of the existing a little bit more.
Well, there is a flat roof here over what is a back porch and this little mudroom, if you will, back here. What if they extended this roof out from where it is and then maybe across the front of the structure to break it up a little bit? Is that the kind of thing you have in mind?
That's what I was thinking that would help mitigate the scale.
Okay. Bill, you have any thoughts on this? Our other architect here?
Yeah. Yeah, I like your thought of breaking that up because the back doesn't have that scale that the front does. From the drawing, just the lines on the roof, I mean, it looks like standing seam metal roofing.
Now, question, Bill, I mean, we've seen this before they removed all the sheds and the barns and the things out back. I mean, this was at one time probably farmed or part of a farm.
Yeah.
Could this read like a barn? Like a
Yeah.
barn structure?
So that it wasn't trying to imitate a house or the house.
Yeah, I think it's best to be trying to carry yourself as a barn.
Yeah.
Maybe the glass plate windows, just a solid.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of barns have obviously vertical board siding on them, and they tend to be, they could be 2 or 3 stories tall, and the whole side is all the sides, the facades are fairly plain or
It's just so close to the house, though.
Yeah, it's
Where
right on it.
if I feel if it was, 15, 20 feet further from the house and that sheer wall wouldn't be as disconcerting. But I feel like it needs some intermediate scale.
Thing to break it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the ARB, so.
But again, without the drawings, we don't, I mean, the windows could be black. We don't know anything about the garage doors, although they are on the side.
Yep.
Trim or no trim, again, sometimes projects like this, we do with very minimal trim or no trim at all.
I understand kind of building something new so that it looks new, so you're not confused with an imitation of the main house. But I also fear that from the public's right of way, this is all you're gonna see.
No, I don't think it's all you're gonna say, because, I mean, you look at the configuration of that,
I mean, we
of the
don't-
house, you're gonna see this wall of the house, you're gonna see the front of the house, no question about that.
Maybe a landscaping plan could be helpful too, at least from CPF's perspective about what the visual easement or whatever, what you're actually going to see is.
I'm just talking about, we all can see the difference and it's set back in that, but the public doesn't they're not versed in that's new, that's, what I mean, what the whole point of a historic facade easement and a landmark is to be valid.
Right. Well, the facade easement is just for the house. And which, does it cover the 3 sides of the house?
Yeah, I think it's the 3 sides you can see
Okay.
them right away.
So, I mean, this structure is not physically
not
obstructing
obstructing it,
any of
yeah.
that side of the house.
But it is definitely impacting the facade, because
Yeah,
it is now part of the house,
Right.
It's impacting the landmark.
according to Secretary of Interior standards in many ways, but it's still obviously posing some questions.
But it wasn't landmarked when they got the building permit.
No.
That's the problem.
Well, it wasn't landmarked when they got the building permit, but we still should have seen the building permit because of the age of the house.
Correct. That's
So
And
that's,
the historic facade easement's been in the works, so they knew that it had to be a landmark.
well, and the applicant is the owner, and, he knows, he submitted the landmarking application, and he, requested the facade easement, so, yeah. This is not somebody who is not familiar with the process.
I have a question about, so in considering this new structure, having like weathered wood siding, that goes into my consideration of what would be compatible on this property. But because it's not going to have its own facade easement. So if somebody in the future wanted to paint it, we wouldn't really have any jurisdiction over stopping them from painting this, right?
Not that structure, I don't believe.
Painting is,
Well, it's, we're talking about painting the barn.
right, but
The garage.
it's going to be attached to the landmark structure.
It's attached.
It's a breezeway.
It's conditioned space, correct?
I don't know if it's conditioned or not.
I guess it's a definition, like it's the second structure.
I think on those flat things, it looks like it's, yeah.
It's
really
described as a breezeway, but, it's pretty close. This is again why it would be helpful for us to actually see the plans for this, and so we can determine that. But that's a good point.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you should submit submit the plans for this, for our review, so we can get a better idea of exactly what's planned here. And maybe we should think about what can be suggested, like the extending that overhang, and perhaps some landscaping in the front of that to help soften the whole thing, and not have that large shear wall.
I think that's less of a change than requesting to lower the roof line and adjust habitable space, et cetera.
Yeah.
It's just a small addition of overhangs possibly, rather than going back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
there's a- Can you see it on there? I guess you can.
To see what?
There's a door
Which,
facing
right here.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a door, and then there's a door on the back too. Although I don't know if that's the same door. Because this is underneath the overhang, and this is right at the back, so just maybe,
It's passed through pretty much the,
yeah.
Do you think it's just a door?
I think it's a door that maybe a door and another door where you can go from front to back.
So then it is conditioned space then?
I believe
Well,
so.
not necessarily,
Not necessarily.
not necessarily, no.
Could be a screen door or something.
Yeah, or it could be a solid glass door. I mean, we have a breezeway at our house, and it's totally not conditioned space, but it connects the garage and the main house.
Do we have a floor plan for that?
No.
The new addition?
We don't have any plans for this.
If there's a bedroom in there, then it has to be conditioned space.
Well, there may be a bedroom in the garage.
Then they've got to make it conditioned space.
Well, that would be conditioned space, but I think we were talking about the
The
breezeway.
connection has to be,
Oh, it does?
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a good thing, because otherwise you just stick your little roof walkway in and.
Well, he was talking about having an exercise room in here. What else was gonna be in there, Bill? There was something there's a basement, and then there's the garage, and then there was exercise space.
And pool house type.
Oh, pool house, yes, because they has a new pool. This is a new pool in the back.
Yeah.
So this pool house space probably on the first floor. I don't know if there's anything else. This is, again, we need to see the plans. Okay, so we'll see some plans, hopefully before our next meeting.
unless they decide to just keep building.
Well, yes, because he's got a plan already, but then we've got the,
Then we have a full-scale model to review.
I'm gonna talk to Sean about maybe.
okay. All right.
David, I have a quick question, and it's okay, if a property is landmarked and you go to GIS and you pull up the tax, papers, I put like for 530 David White's Lane, I see nothing that stands out saying this is a landmarked property. So
533?
unless I missed it, it seems like there should be something.
I'm pretty sure there's a special note that says landmark structure. It's not
I
just-
didn't see it, but then I may have missed it. But if there isn't, there seems like anybody pulling it up should know immediately.
Yeah.
It should be
I mean,
very visible
I've
someplace.
proofed a few landmark structures, and I found the proper note, but that doesn't mean that there aren't some that are missing.
Yeah.
Julie's
It
checking.
says, Town Historic District / Landmark do not issue any permits.
It says landmark.
Okay, then I missed it. Okay, I'll look it up when I'm.
First thing that it says is do not.
I mean, I see it in.
It's not always visible on our end.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, it seemed like, but then it seems like for the general public, if I was the real estate lady and I accessed, the general files, that I would know it immediately. Or if I was going to buy the property, or for whatever reason, and whoever has access that's if you're not in town hall. It seemed like it should be marked.
Yeah, perhaps we could change that to highlight, big bold letters, town historic landmark.
Yeah, something, I don't know, that's just,
Pops up, it's
Yeah.
just little.
Because it doesn't read too much different than the 1941
Right, it
flag that
doesn't.
says you need landmarks review.
You can find it way
And just
down
going
in
through,
there.
just doing some Bridgehampton things. Some of the roads, it's like every other one has a little flag on it and
Yeah, I'll talk to GIS about changing that note. That's a
make
good
it
point.
look a little,
Okay, moving on. 149 South Country Road in Remsenburg has been landmarked, I understand.
it has.
And easement offer probably, is that still,
We will be closing shortly. He
Closing
just needs
shortly.
to cut his hedge down.
yeah, not yet,
He hasn't done it yet?
no.
Okay.
Went by there today, I noticed that hedge immediately when I came down.
Why didn't we require the hedge to be cut down on 533 to give it weight?
I don't know, sleep at the wheel.
The facade easement's requiring.
Oh, you're, okay.
Yeah.
Facade easement.
All right, 29 Dock Road.
Consider for the landmarking too.
Yeah.
29 Dock Road in Remsenburg, Spionk. We're just still waiting for him to do his windows, which I don't think is gonna happen. North Sea Schoolhouse.
I sent an email months ago telling them we needed the invoices. I haven't gotten anything.
Okay. Do you wanna send another email?
Yeah, I better.
Thank you. And that, closes out the matters to be considered, unless anybody wants to bring anything else to our attention tonight. And Peter, I keep forgetting to ask, is there anybody on Zoom with their hand up?
No one has their hand up.
Okay, good. All right. Well, if there are no other matters to be discussed, meeting adjourned.